Hi, today is the 22nd of April 2025. Welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Minna Crichton. I'm the narrator of this video clip and also all the other video clips on my YouTube channel. Obviously, by now you'd know that I'm actually talking about my legal definition in regards to my identity, entity, ideas, intellectual property, and life of the person, and anything that's tangible property and the existence of the person on earth involving myself, and anything documents, anything that I created and worked on, my ideas. These are all my personal property. So basically my YouTube channel is also in relation to my court case in the courts and all the incidents involving what has happened to me historically, trafficking in persons case. Okay guys, a lot of my photos are of me, from different times over the years when I was putting my channel together just for my profile and for my video clips. But this is me today, April 2025. Okay, so we're dealing with a left behind case from privacy breaches, so that is quite clear of all the incidents involving a single individual in their personal property or their personal profile. They are definitely 100% serious violent offences. People wouldn't actually classify it as serious violent offences because to them doesn't seem serious, but to the victim themselves is actually life and death, because it is serious, because they are definitely in their in their environment, controlling and manipulating them like some kind of a computer or an app, and then there's cohesion involved where they're trying to lure them into a plan or a plot. And this is why my case is definitely 100% organised crime, and it is definitely contains a lot of serious violent offences. Also involves those in government, so perjury is internal corruption, so perjury has taken place in different series of incidents, and that's quite clear. And also a lockout incident or a lockout case. Okay, so before I go on to the actual topic that I'm going to be talking on about today that I feel is relevant in regards to my court cases and the criminal harassments and whatnot, definitely the case involves relationship love triangle. Okay, so I've definitely been used for that historically. So the competitor are actually the people that are glued to me, or in other words, I'm actually being animated or in animates, and like substitutes are being used. This is the reason why there's serious violent offences and home invasion in a person's personal property or the victim, because you can't be both. You can't be innocent and you can't be like the defendant or the offender and the victim. You're either one or the other. So in this case, legally by law, historically, I've always been the victim. I've never been the offender. It's been those that have actually glued themselves on me without my permission or consent. But it is the global relationship scam where they are using people for products, like a product or an app, or to get other people a foot in the door, or either to promote themselves, and and then they're actually stealing somebody else's life and energy. So when that actually happens, that actually falls in the person's Bill of Rights, okay? So that's why we have actually Bill of Rights. A Bill of Rights is it's for every single human being that actually exists on Earth. So the Bill of Rights is this here is the right not to be deprived of life. So in my case, when somebody else is stealing your energy or the good fruits from your life, they are actually depriving that person of a life. They're depriving them of their privacy. They're depriving them of their own existence as a human being, or recognized as the authentic person. So everything that I've gone through, if you've going through these kind of things, you've actually been deprived of the usual fundamental justice, or just being blacklisted, or discrimination. So that's my personal experience historically. It's soul destroying. They are glued like a thorn in the flesh into the actual individual's soul. They are glued by using the misuse of devices. They're listening to everything that the victims are saying, and they're close by, and they only just need to text each other. It's been really frustrating for me. I've actually reacted to the abuse, psychological abuse, because I know it's them when they do indirect insulting soundtracks. I know they're talking to me, but it is the opposing allies linking to the women or whoever is using me. Okay, so yeah, I have reacted a lot more so in the last couple of years because it's been so inhumane. And I was just trying to think, well, how the hell do they know when I'm doing something? It just tells me that they're actually really intimate into everything I'm doing. So nowadays technology is so advanced. The game is definitely global. When I'm doing something the opposing allies don't like, they let me know. But they've let me know in ways like globally. Like that's how I know that I'm being globally targeted by somebody, and I don't know who, which makes it even more scarier. But I'm so used to it now, I'm not afraid to stand against it and expose it, because it's absolutely serious. We should be able to be in our own private home without all these things going on. But the end result is exactly what I've gone through, what I've suffered. There's sufficient evidence to prove that very serious criminal offences has taken place within my private space without my permission or consent. But the only way these things can happen is only by the misuse of devices and a substitute. Okay, and they are using the relationship scam. It's an old method. There's nothing new about it. For those that are into criminology or old school like me, there's nothing new about the system. It's just that it's advanced because of the technology, and because people are using their jobs internally and they're just texting each other, so no one is actually really safe. Okay. So yes, definitely, I have definitely been used for relationship scams, okay, historically without my consent. It's been really inhumane, but the most recent incident for me has definitely been my real life story with Henry Cavill and myself. We were very close. It doesn't matter whatever happens in the future, we'll always be close. And I'm quite sure God will make a way, even though the opposing allies are into every single thing we're both doing. But it is definitely crimes against humanity, whereas we're actually the original, and then we have all the exes, or they like to use other people's exes. That's what I believe they've done to me historically while I was working for my employer. They, dig up people's past and all their exes, and then they use the exes to build an alliance, and then eventually they're digging up their family members and their friends, and before you know it, everybody's on the game, not realizing the seriousness or what they're even they've actually been used for or participate in. The danger for the public is that while all this is happening, they're actually being targeted themselves. So it can backfire. These people do, if they've used money to bribe somebody, or blackmail somebody or have actually received something in exchange of something. These people will just use people and then murder them and then take the money back. It does happen. It can happen. Or if you make a wrong decision in a relationship, they will end up stealing off you, micromanage you, and you end up losing everything you work for, everything about you, and then they other people gain all the glory or gain all the benefit from somebody else's hard work. So definitely relationship scam is involved in mine. The difference between mine and maybe difference to other people, it is definitely linked to all my court cases historically and anything legally on my personal property, my profile. So that's why I'm keeping the evidence in the moment for the honest investigator watching me, because it needs definitely public intervention, and also giving other civilians a chance to actually realize the massive changes that is. It's illegal, it's not acceptable, and we can't accept it as normal, because it's not normal. What these people are doing, they are den of thieves, okay? They're still human beings, and just because they're behind the scene, it doesn't mean they're honest, okay? So we're talking about the motive and intent, and it's absolutely easy to steal and kill. So this is what it looks like, okay? So I can actually prove historically that I have been used for a product, I've been used for an app, they've dug up my past to use against me. But in the moment, in the early years, I did feel protected, but there were times that I didn't feel safe, because I just knew that I felt trapped, like something wasn't right. But yeah, now I can actually confirm that I was, even though I was safe, I was being secretly used without my consent. And it's so easy to do on any single individual just by the misuse of devices. You can be studied under the camera while you're at work or anything like that. So it's quite serious. Words cannot actually express how horrific it has been for me as a victim. So I actually believe I'm supposed to be doing this for numerous reasons. Okay, so it doesn't matter what methods they use. It is definitely the modern day human trafficking. It's like this, okay? They actually come out, they know. Right, so once it's started, once you're caught up in that alliance, it can link to they're linking themselves to your family and your friends. So even, the game just continues. They just continue on to new victims each time, doing exactly the same thing, breaking every single law that protects people's privacy, and to stop them from actually going through human trafficking or home invasion cases. Okay, so it is like it's like a thorn in the flesh is what I like to describe, and that's why I'm reacting the way I do to the abuse. It's horrific, and I'm just so sick of it. But they're glued to you. And I was just thinking to myself, because I'm at home, and the opposing allies likes to let me know they're glued to me. That tells me it's these alliances linked to these women. Okay, so their intention is to steal whatever it is they're after. They're animating, but they are breaking the law. So they have full access into everything I'm doing. And I'm thinking, well, how do they have timing to even abuse me and let me know, because to them it's a joke, it's a game. They don't care. Okay, so they don't care. They're mentally impaired is all I can say, because they think they can do these things in confidence and not get caught, and they are being groomed. Okay, they're being groomed by other people. So, and no, they don't have any supernatural powers. So it's totally their flesh. Okay, the problem is it might be a gang member. Gangs are into all these kind of things, corruption. It's really easy for them, and when it's a global game like what I've gone through, it's very serious for everyone. Okay, so I did think about how do they know when to do what they're doing, the timing and everything. The only way is by the misuse of devices and them texting each other. Okay, they may not have access to listening to everything I'm saying in my apartment, but somebody does. Right? The timing is glued, and this is really dangerous because they can switch your medical records, switch everything, and that's the idea of why they're doing what they're doing. They're cheating, and it is linked to the court cases too, so they're cheating in their court cases. And obviously, they don't want to surrender or be caught out of very serious, culpable crimes, culpable offences involving relationship scams and cheating. It's perjury if it's linked to the government. So it means somebody's actually committing treason. Okay, so for everyone in New Zealand, it is still treason. Treason is still illegal in New Zealand. So it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a politician or the police or whoever has access. If they're linked to these relationship scams globally, they have automatically committed treason, okay, in New Zealand, because you're not allowed to, and it's 14 years imprisonment. But the danger for the innocent civilian is, how the heck do I protect myself from this? How do I protect my family from this? Okay, because these people, we don't know if they're mentally retarded. We don't know if they've got sick fetishes that's quite not good. Like, there's a lot of weird people these days, and now we can't see them, but they can actually abuse somebody just under the camera by using their jobs, texting each other. So it is definitely a life and death situation, and the gangs are definitely hired to do these things. And so we're living in a generation, we don't know the difference of who is gang related and actually is doing corruption versus the prominent man in a suit. So we don't know, because it's because of the way the system is set up. So that's the danger we're in. But treason is still treason. These laws are still active, and so I'll just carry on. Okay, so everything on my personal profile, and the reason why animation or inanimate is illegal, it's because of all the evidence that eventually accumulates over the years, meaning the actual individual ends up buried under the truth. Okay, so it becomes a very serious conspiracy, a very serious home invasion, where all the originals are either murdered, they're disappeared, they've left the country for other reasons. Some of them maybe because they've committed a crime and they're on a run. So the actual people that are investigating in cases like mine, they have to find out exactly where are all the originals within the environment, because all the originals all end up being animated. So basically your family and your friends are also animated. The danger also is because it's easy to have several perpetrators, allowing the real perpetrators to escape before they get caught. But because there is a definite pattern, it's actually quite easy. Some of the things that have happened to me, all it does is it just triggers. Okay, it triggers my what's going on with me, and I get upset. Okay, because it just reminds me going back to 2008, so forth. These things hasn't changed, and it's still the same. But a conspiracy to bring false accusation upon any individual is a crime. Okay, that's actually concurrent with every other charges on top of that in a criminal case. But the person that they're doing it to has to be either they're innocent, they can't be they're defendant. Okay, so I'm the innocent person in this case of what I'm going through, and it is 14 years imprisonment. So a conspiracy is usually committed by those that are doing unlawful acts, okay, who are in your space acting out, pretending, and carrying out other people's plans and plots. So that those people automatically become the offender. Okay, so I just took this photo recently. Okay, this was only just taken this Sunday. See this car like this, okay, and then there's two people here. This here is what I'd call organized crime. Now, gangs are hired. I don't know who's doing it, okay, but the people's members, it's a game, okay, it's a sport, and that's very serious for any member of the public to have to put up with cohesion, to have to put up with stage stalking that is actually organized crime, and then people using their occupation and is actually intimately glued to the victim's personal and private business. Meaning there might be somebody in your business that's actually breaking the law or have actually committing treason or, is a threat to your business because they are dishonest and, doing things that you don't know about unless they get caught. But this here is a good example of what I would call criminal nuisance. Okay, see how you go out and they're just standing there pretending, looking innocent. I can tell straight away, and they won't look at me in the face because they know they shouldn't be there. They know they're guilty. But them doing these kind of things are the kind of things that gangs do. So somebody comes out and they're just acting like that. They like to use cars or something, coloured cars or the shape of a car or a type of a car in reflection to the people that they want to deviate, okay, or represent, AVL. Okay, so they use the members of your family, the originals' cars, and so they're actually building an alliance, but it's not even them, but as these people, they are creating an illusion. Okay, they're creating an illusion, keeping the original, like they're trying to create family violence. But this car is a representative of some secret lover that apparently Henry Cavill has or wants Henry, or who the public picks. And so, this car comes out too. Whereas then there's Amy Denton, she's represented by a white van. Okay, I'm telling you, if you are going through these kind of things where, women or men are trying to fight for you in a way where they're trying to sabotage another person, example myself, that is a no-no relationship. I promise you, get rid of them, okay? That is why it's not good to, because you just can't trust them. And the fact that, the public is helping these people do what they're doing, that's serious. That just tells you that that person is not for you. Okay, you risk yourself, because in the middle of the gang public games, you don't know who the heck some of these cultures, some of them are actually, quite savage. I'm not joking. They like to the fact that they even want to try and create something to look beautiful on the surface to attract, that's a no-no. Okay, that's why I've been single for a long time, because I'm just wasn't into all that kind of a thing. And I'm not an easy person as far as letting my guard down, and for various reasons, just common sense, because anything linked to the public where they want to intermarry into rich men's life, or women, okay, because women, and I've seen some of them historically have lost everything, ending up marrying the wrong person. And so that's the danger. But they shouldn't, even the fact that these women are using the public, or using the public relationship scam to even win their court cases, that's fraud, okay? So that's a no-no. But this kind of acts is the sort of thing I have to put up with when I go out. They know I'm by myself, so it's annoying for me, because this has been going on since 2008. Okay, since I was working for my employer. So I'm just so over it. But I try not to react, but it is annoying. Other times they like to act out a car accident. Okay, they like to come out with cars. They're using their cars to try and let you know they're going to cause a car accident. If you have any suspicions like that, I suggest you take photos of their registration number of their suspicion. The thing is, they're using different people all the time, okay? And it's global, and they are flying from overseas just to commit the crime and leave the crime scene. Okay, so it's actually quite serious. I've actually gone out, I think I've already mentioned this in one of my video clips, where they've mockingly killed people, then they'll come in my space and just be in my space, to mock about that person is dead. Which tells me that criminal alliance still exists, and they haven't caught they haven't actually caught the mastermind of the actual crime. Also telling me that this criminal alliance is still existing out in public and in government, and our government, the honest people, needs to do something about it. Okay, but these are the sort of things I'm experiencing when I leave home. And then they're waiting, they're acting it out, or they're using words like bomb, okay, because they want to make threats. They want to threaten me, emotional threat to kill somebody. The thing is, they have made threats in the past. Okay, I'm the victim. I'm actually describing crime scenes that's actually real. Okay, they've actually made threats and they've followed it through. Okay, and I am a witness to a lot of these murders too, and yes, I do. I know who they are too. So, but I've just got to trust God with what I'm going through. I have no intentions of going back to church and sit down and pretend none of these things happen, but I will continue to persevere in whichever direction God takes me. But from my point of view, this is very serious. Okay. And but these are the signs that you actually have to look out for. So some of these women, they're actually like represent countries, so I'm quite sure they can find out who's behind it. But yeah, it's very personal, very intimate, and they don't want me to finish my court case. They don't want me to do certain things, so that's why they are threatening. And I'm actually being blocked out. So recently the new person is Sophie. So sometimes people get arrested in government for getting caught out. This is my other, I know without a shadow of doubt, is that some of these people are linked to breaking the law to do with me. So they go and get a lawyer, whatever, blah, 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 because they've been arrested. And so instead of the government letting me know, or whoever's behind it, that, these people have been charged for committing offences involving me, okay, I'm the victim, and usually a victim knows, usually victims are told that who is the offender and what they've been charged. But in this case, I've been the victim, and they've actually just used me for money laundering. So these people go and get a lawyer, they pay their lawyer, and here I am walking around like limbo. I feel like my life is just, zapped out of me. But it doesn't stop. They just continue on doing. So that's the reason why I keep complaining, because it is a life and death set of circumstance when somebody has lost their liberty and people are just stealing and using the victims for a pecuniary advantage. Okay, so all these objects here, what I'm using is what I'm going through. So I know I'm personally exploited globally. So it doesn't matter where I'm going, I'm being pinned down. Okay, so I'm used to it. Okay, but everything I'm doing, they're using like a compass. Okay, this has enabled them to block me out and to steal and cheat in their court cases. Okay, but there's nothing in my personal profile that actually says that actually articulates the fact that I've accepted what everyone has done to me as okay. Because usually when people put in complaints, it's because you're saying it's not okay. Okay, it's not okay to do what you're doing to me. So because I've done that, there's sufficient evidence to prove gross negligence, a malfunction of the system because I've actually exhausted the system. And and so I'm even in more danger now, and so is everybody else that is still alive, but at least everyone has a chance to actually protect themselves, because I think if I'd have done this going backwards in 2006 was when the first breach took place, maybe there'd be a lot of people alive today, because everybody was like me, just a sitting duck, minding my own business, just really private, loving being private too. So that is the danger everyone is in. Okay, so a lot of things in my personal profile does involve taxpayers' money. Well, it's not anything to do with an individual. Is actually like as an actual citizen of New Zealand, every individual is allocated a certain amount of money from the taxpayers' funding, or whatever they want to call it. Okay, so I believe that they've actually used me, like there's been tax invasion. They've stolen my idea, used my identity, and they've used me. This is where Unison Dance Crew comes in. So that I can actually, even though it's so long ago, I can still deal with it, God willing, with it in the criminal jurisdiction, because they stole and used my name. So it's been pretty bad for me, and that is all that information is actually in my court cases, and the enemies and the thieves who actually stole from me are reading everything I'm doing. So that's where it's dangerous, even more dangerous for myself and those closest to me, because everything we're doing, it's going straight to the people who are actually responsible of what's happening, or it could be their friends, their family members. And that is the reason why things become difficult, because of the home invasion involved. So I'm just using posters. I hope it makes sense to you. So this mirror here, I would say, be the original, and then we've got the other people that is the substitute. Okay, and they're the ones like I'm going to steal, or they're the informant, or in linking right back to the people who are controlling and manipulating you, but you don't know who it is. It may be, somebody hierarchy in government. It could be somebody hierarchy in the royal family. It could be someone hierarchy in another government state around the world. So that is a danger. And that is what I have been subject to historically. And they're using the mobiles and the technologies to, like a compass, to watch you wherever you're going. So in hindsight, really, I'm not safe wherever I go, and no one is actually safe if they're going through this kind of thing. So according to the law, if it's global, it's acts of terrorists. Okay, what it is, organised crime. And that comes under the law, acts of terrorism. And my discovery also with the New Age criminal system, it's actually set out for people like myself to be used globally. So that's quite scary. There could be somebody in your family that's being used like an app, but that person is linked globally to the murderers or to the people who is playing games with their life. So that's very serious predicament. But I think you understand where I'm coming from. But they definitely are acts of terrorists, okay? Especially cases like mine, because they already know and they won't stop. To them, it's a game, okay? Sometimes people are hired, okay? People are paying money to commit these crimes. So all they need to do is so easy to do, is use their jobs, okay? So that is why, even if you're going through what I'm going through, keep ringing the police, leave reports. Even if you don't get any reaction or anything, keep complaining. If you don't feel safe, that is actually their job to make you safe. But build up a case, okay? Just build up a case like what I've done, and because I'm quite sure there's still honest people that override But these people are cunning, okay? They're evil. It's a sport. They get a thrill of doing something wrong and not getting caught. Okay. The other way to recognize when you are actually being used for an illegal project by the government or whoever is behind it, they are coding people even with what they wear and color coding themselves when they go out. So they're either having black and white stripes or something like that. But that tells me, oh my gosh, they're in my space. But yeah, but this is how the game works. So being tagged, they've studied me. I don't know. I don't know what they want to call it, but it's serious, okay? And everyone has participated one way or another. So we probably have a lot of very guilty people who are scared of getting caught. But anyway, this is just an example. Okay, it's a global game. Okay, so don't take anything lightly. These people are professional at causing car accidents. They're professional at poisoning people too. And they lie, okay? So they do lie. So you're not safe. So it is definitely, from my point of view as a victim, it is definitely riotous. And there's a law in the new legislation called riot control of agents. So it's probably a specific agent or a specific group of people. From my point of view, I feel like the serial cybercrime or the serial murderers from other people in the past hasn't really left my sight. They're still glued to me in one way or another, even though it is getting better and it is getting harder for them because they're scared. But it is $1 million if they get caught. If they find out who is the main perpetrator, because that's how it is. You've got to find out who's the mastermind, who's authorizing it, who is giving the orders to do what these people are doing. Okay, it's illegal, and unless they've got a search warrant to be actually in your space, and even though they are surveillancing us now, there's actually nothing in law that actually condones them to do what they're doing. It's still unlawful. And if you can prove that it's caused you harm, caused you stress, if it's proved it's ruined your reputation and you can't advance as a human being, it's a criminal case, and you can actually take them, have criminal cases against the corporate bodies or the individuals. So they're sabotaging evidence or the impeding rescue, that's 10 years imprisonment. After the fact, so if you be consistent like what I am, it's actually really easy to undo anything. And some of the signs of being locked out is when you keep making complaints and nothing gets resolved. Everyone is in on it, okay? It's discrimination. So this here's the most recent one where I just ended up writing a letter again. I have historical letters like this in my profile going back with when the Ministry of Health case from the 4th of July 2016. I've got, I read letters and complaints and nothing got resolved. Nothing, okay? It's like I'm doing all this work, positive energy from me trying to go forward. I put all my energy on something the only way I can get myself out, which is legally, only for it to somebody else stealing it, or it just sits in the office. So, and I know they're stealing, okay, but they're making me work and they're stealing my ideas and building, they're educating themselves using me. And stealing anything to do with me. Okay, so this is the most recent one. Like last year when I made, I went through a very difficult time before Christmas because after my court case with the New Zealand police, which was on the 30th of October last year, and then I continued on to my next court cases. And then I was being locked out, but the courts started being difficult. And started they abused me under the camera. But there's a consistency of very serious breaches and very serious discrimination by the court staff, even though they come out and talk nicely. but they have no intention of actually helping you because they know that you are, that they're helping each other. But this has been going on since the court cases actually started, and they're all, breaking the law because, they think they're going to keep their job from standing up for each other by breaking the law. Unfortunately, when they get caught out, they will be audited as an individual, and they can get charged as an individual, lose their job as an individual. And at the end of the day, why did you even do that? Okay, it's just not worth it. So I did write a letter to the Ministry of Justice Complaints. I mean, they're abusing people and then telling them to do things, then they do it, but then nothing comes out of it. So I think you all can get the picture. So if you're living like that for a very long time, that's a very serious thing to do to any individual. It's inhumane, it's illegal, it's not acceptable. But they were abusing me leading up to Christmas, and they always seem to be doing it when I'm by myself. This is like consistent within the middle, like in between going to places, they're abusing me when I'm by myself. So, oh my goodness, how the heck they survive all that? So, this letter was actually, this is the response from the Ministry of Justice, okay? In regards to my cases, dated that date. Okay. Oh, also, while I've got that letter, something else I wanted to talk about. Okay, so here's me writing the letter on December. This is just before Christmas. This is when I actually officially wrote large complaints to do with the Ministry of Health, like officially lodged complaints. Okay, so it's like that I don't even know want to talk about it, but I did end up writing another letter like this, or several times, with the ministry going backwards to 2006 and so forth, complaining about how I was being treated by the courts, and not treating my case fairly, but we're dealing with internal corruption. Okay, so I'm dealing with the Ministry of Health evidence still. Okay, so the actual intimate interference has been intimate. Okay, they're like glued intimate. This here is an exhibit, okay, against a PSA, because for those that are new on board, I lost my job because they derailed me out of my job. So it was pre-planned long time ago before it actually happened. So everything in the moment that I've actually submitted to the courts is clear evidence of human trafficking in persons, meaning somebody had already made the decision that I was going to get pushed out of my job, but the way they did everything is illegal. Yes, they used the anime substitute through everything, with making it actually very easy to undo in the criminal jurisdiction. Okay, so this here is one of the doctors is Scrutiny doctor. Okay, he's the doctor that he did a medical assessment. He's the reason why I ended up losing my job, because of his medical assessment. Okay, watch the other videos. It explains the whole case properly. And he breached his contract on several reasons. One, he was not a qualified psychiatrist to do a mental health assessment on anybody. Okay. The other thing, he wasn't qualified. He broke in his contract. He made contact with my family doctor. Somebody in the ministry made contact with my family GP, and I believe that's the reason why she sent me to go and get a mental health assessment. But I went there for the reason to, well, it was because of the renewal of the medical certificate, because I was on sick leave because of the employment thing that I was going through, suggested by the employer. And, so my doctor just put me on leave while they did their investigation. But I had to get the medical certificate renewed so I could stay on the benefit during this time of the job investigation. But this here is what one of the things is evidence is that this is actually an exhibit in court. Okay, the evidence is very black and white. PSA, confirming here about the medical assessment made by the Dr. Steve Colpin. All right, he made the medical assessment without even seeing me, so I didn't even know what he looked like when I actually got unfairly dismissed. Okay, but all this got cancelled anyways. But this here is evidence. Okay, it's evidence that he confirmed that he was going to contact the GP, and I wasn't happy because I never gave him consent. So what I'm saying is I never gave PSA consent to even contact my family GP. Okay, I'm just having a look at something here. So here this is the actual medical certificate that I had at that point of time, say 6th of January 2016, just to get this renewed. That was why I went there, and then they ended up using the act on me by force. Okay, they enforced it without any evidence. So I felt like they set me up, and they did set me up. It's quite clear, but everything links. Okay, so I just thought I'd just show that. The other thing I'm just going to go through. See here, it's actually an exhibit. This one's a bit more clearer. This here was an exhibit. Okay. He's letting me know that the ministry is proposing to release your identity and information it holds to Dr. Colpin. I haven't given anyone consent to do that, meaning that your employer is not even allowed to do that without your consent. Okay, no one is allowed to release any of your information to any other corporate body, even if it's sharing, even if they're just sharing information without a warrant. That's illegal. So I hope you get that point. Okay. So they this here is just to prove that they were proposing to release your identity and information it holds to Dr. Colpin, and this is from the PSA. Okay, this is the ministry was making that statement that they were going to release I hadn't even given that to my employer. I hadn't even given my employer that permission either. The ministry actually gave me some documents to sign, but I refused. The reason why I did that was because when they asked me to do it in 2009, I also declined that. I wasn't happy about that. I didn't want to go, but then they said they'll force me to go if I don't go. Okay, because I knew my rights. I was standing up for myself. But in this matter, the ministry had already made contact with the PSA organiser, and this is what he sent to me to confirm that they were proposing to contact my family GP. Okay, so I haven't given permission to my employer, and I haven't not given permission to Steve Colpin. I have not given any of them permission to even investigate into my medical records. Okay, so even the 3 doctors that I won the case against for misusing the Mental Health Act, I didn't give. They don't have that authority to just go into people's profile and have a sneak preview, and then make up their own assessment just from reading what's on people's profile. They do not have that authority. Okay, so we're dealing with internal corruptions and privacy breaches. Hence is the reason why what I've gone through. But this here is an exhibit. Okay, and this here is clearly is information that the Ministry of Justice had breached that by even releasing that information of my GP and to Steve Colpin, because I didn't sign any consent form. I remember when they made the suggestion in the beginning, I thought, well, I need to see what they want in writing. So I said, well, I'm not going to go to any mental health assessment unless you put it in writing. So they put it in writing, okay. But I also wanted evidence, so they put it in writing. Why they wanted me to go and get mentally assessed by Steve Colpin, but when I read it, I declined. So now I realized, you guys are breaking the law. But this here is confirmation that it says here, state that the ministry, which is the Ministry of Justice, okay, the Ministry of Justice was my employer, is proposing to release your identity and information it holds to Dr. Colpin, and that Dr. Colpin is proposing to contact you, or your GP, once he has that information. So somebody has contacted my family GP, and so that is confirmation that Dr. John Joseph is linked to everybody else in government in my case. So in between everything I'm going through, there is a specific criminal group working in the middle. Okay, it's a cyber crime, but they're using their jobs. So if you watch my other video where if you go out public, it's like I had that picture post. I haven't got time to find it right next, so I need to finish this clip. Where you go, where's Wally? Okay, so you go out in public in a crowd, and in there, where's Wally? But in there, this is exactly the same thing when you're working for the government. Okay, so in government, there is somebody in there that's working, or a representative working, doing what they're doing to me, to other civilians. It's those people that the government needs to catch and remove from their jobs. I don't believe they should be just removed. I believe that they should be charged according to teach everybody else a lesson not to do it, because that's why we have laws. I'm just doing that, okay? And I'm not racist, okay? But unfortunately, it has been some of the extremists in my case personally, because a victim always knows who are the perpetrators, because it's their evidence and they're witness to it. But it has definitely been the Indians. It has definitely been some white supremacy. It has definitely been some Māori supremacy. And linked to the gangs, it's definitely been this. It's just been a mixture of people, okay? And then the women, Asian. But, just because these people are doing what they're doing to me, but they're turning the game to make it global. So the defendants, or the people in my space, that is the substitute, is representing their country. So this is where the sport is who can kill the victim. Okay, that's what I've been through, and that's illegal. Okay, so so we're dealing with who is using their jobs in government, who is using their jobs to steal off innocent civilian, who is using their job to to build an alliance and secretly stealing without getting caught. Okay, so this is why no one is safe, because it's very hard to one, you've got to stand up against them, and you can get discriminated just because you don't want to participate in something you don't want, it's not right. You just don't want to have a bar of it, and you just want to do your job and go home. But it can backfire if you do it. You can backfire because you've just broken the law for somebody else. Or if you don't do it, they'll attack you and try and get rid of you. So that's what's happened to me. I think I'll leave it at that because this video's gone too long, but I'm quite sure the information is very important. Oh, actually, no, I'll finish with this letter here. This here was written for the judiciary review. Okay, and you probably get a lot of tips for what you can do too for yourself, because what you need is evidence for everything you say as evidence. Okay, so this here was dated on the 21st of December 2022. This letter was, I'll just scroll it down so you can all read it. It was to the case officer. I gave him, or because I didn't know whether it was a he or a she, clear instruction what to do with my case, okay, at that point of time. And whatever whatever, you know, the plaintiff or the party submit to court, that is what the case officer is supposed to do, okay? And I clearly have put there all the files. Okay, this is an official legal document. All right. So the courts can be done, like the courts are in trouble for splitting my file up because they basically haven't done any of that. Instead, they split my file up, making me repeat, can't go forward. And then I think it's how many years now? 8 years later. So I'll finish it at that. And I will update you of my cases as time goes on.